Okay, good evening. Just getting my Facebook friends out there. Okay, just playing with my settings here. All right, Facebook, YouTube, thanks for joining us this evening, and LinkedIn. We are streaming on LinkedIn today as well. So, all right, had a good amount of people that have signed up for this evening. So, give me just a few minutes and we'll let some more people pop in there. So, while we're waiting for others to join us, if you could please let me know, what areas are you thinking of moving to? So, just sent out a text late yesterday that their new program, I shouldn't say new, the City of Detroit program's been around for 3 years, but just got funding and actually just hit the news today as well, too. All right. Detroit, Southfield, 7 Mile. Great. Detroit West Side. All right. Jennifer, trying to purchase a home you're renting? Great. You're in the best spot. Jennifer, we're going to give you access to all the different programs out there. That's what I pride myself in, is teaching renters how to purchase using down payment assistance programs and grants. 48228. Tamiko, thank you for sharing that. All right. Dearborn, Garden City. Hey, Brianna, the Wayne County program has a fair amount of funding right now, offering up to 14,000. So great way to buy a house in those areas. All right. Macomb County, Robin. Awesome. So for whatever reason, I have a fair amount of investors that are selling rental properties in Macomb County right now. So I just got a call from someone in basically northern Warren. So 3 bedroom brick ranch, 1950 style. That'll be hitting the market next week. So lots of opportunities, lots of houses out there. Canton, Plymouth, Livonia, Farmington. Okay, iPhone. Livonia still sitting on money. I just checked yesterday. Livonia, $168,000 available in $15,000 increments for people purchasing in the city of Livonia. Now, Plymouth, Canton, and Farmington state programs, great option there, offering up to $10,000. I'm actually waiting for the state program, a $25,000 for first generation. We're waiting for that one to get some funding as well. I feel like now we're going to start to see the floodgates open with these down payment assistance programs and grants getting more funding. So, what I stress to people is you really have got to have your house in order. And what I mean by that is we want to get you pre approved before the masses start rolling in. So, I've been sounding the alarm on this for a few months now, and it's going to start hitting. So, what's going to happen is the funds on these programs are going to go very quickly. I was almost hoping that the media would not catch and would not do any type of announcement for the City of Detroit program, because what happens is the floodgate gets opened, the program gets overloaded, and the experience isn't as good as it possibly could be. So there are some changes to this year's program with the City of Detroit, and I think we should be having, I think I've got a guest that will be joining us shortly that might be able to add a little bit to it. Oh, Ben, good. I see that you're in there. And actually, why don't I ask Ben to unmute right now and we can maybe tap on his knowledge. Ben, are you there? Hey, Ben. So Ben was one of the few people that were on the call with the city of Detroit yesterday. So maybe you can enlighten us with regards to what the process is going to be like over the next few months. I imagine, in your opinion, how quickly do you think the funds are going to go this time? Oh, let's see. Let me unmute you again. Let me see if I can do this. Let's add. Okay, there you go. Okay, Ben. So give us your aerial view of what the changes are now compared to last year. Okay. Interesting. Can I interrupt you there for a second, Ben? So so in the past, we've been able to stack programs, and Ben and I had a couple of success stories where we kind of like ran the table where we would do 25,000 from the city. We did a 3% gift program, a $5,000 closing cost credit, and then appraisal. So where are they going to cap us from, stacking these programs? Okay. Interesting. Okay. So whatever the loan amount is, so from a loan to value standpoint, whatever's on the pre-approval, what they're going to run with. They're not going to let us take the extra amount and apply it to equity. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay. Okay. Got it. Okay. And like we talked about earlier, so credit restrictions, we still think credit's the same way. There's no credit restrictions for the down payment assistance program for the 25,000, I should say. Obviously there's some underlying conditions that have to go with Flagstar, of course, but they're pretty lenient on credit overall with this program. Okay. Awesome. Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you very much, Ben. I appreciate it. Any other, Ben Flores, Flagstar Bank, been there many years. He is my go-to guy there. He 100% customer service oriented. So, and thank you for carving out your time this evening for us, Ben. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. All right. Let's just jump right into it. So, just in the interest of time, I wanted to get Ben on as soon as possible. So, please type in any questions that you have. Can Ben put his number in the comments? Ben, would you mind doing that for us? So, anyways, so let's jump right into this because I know we're going to have a lot of questions tonight. I plan on having everything done within about 50 minutes. And then we'll open up for all the questions that you possibly have. Out of the corner of my eye, someone's asking, can you explain first time homebuyer program? Well, most almost all of the programs that I work with are first time homebuyer programs, but first time homebuyer programs are defined as people that just haven't owned a home within the past 3 years. So if you owned a home several years ago, uh, that's fine. As long as you haven't had anything titled in your name for the past 3 years, you are considered a first-time home buyer in most people's eyes, most lenders' eyes, that is. So, and there are a couple of programs where they will offer money and you don't have to be a first-time home buyer. And I will give you access to an application or my search tool where I can see all the programs that are out there, and you can actually input your specific situation in, and you'll find out all the programs that are out there. But before we get into that, I want to give you some of the people that we've had success stories with. But tonight I'm going to go over what programs they used, how we stack those programs, and how we get everybody in with very little money out of pocket. So with that being said, I'm going to just jump right into it. Okay, this first person, this is actually Nate. Nate and Kelsey purchased this home out in White Lake Township, $260,000. They used a relatively new down payment assistance program that gave them $14,000 for their down payment. The closing costs they had to come up with, we could ask for seller concessions. The seller paid some of their closing costs. So they were able to get in with just a few $1,000s out of pocket. And the program that they applied for has a solar package attached to it. Okay. So if you look at their house here in the center, you'll see the roof. They're going to get a solar package installed on their roof this spring. And I'll keep people posted because I haven't done one of these before. Actually, Nate brought this particular program to my radar. And since we haven't had the solar portion installed yet, I can't speak to that experience, but it is coming. And I will let people know what kind of savings they received as a result of having the solar package installed. So sounds good on the surface, but like anything in life, it's always in the details. So I'll report back to you on that one. This next one is Kenneth. Kenneth actually purchased a home using a down payment assistance program through the state of Michigan. So if memory serves, I think Ben was the one that got this one across the finish line, Bennett Flagstar. So Kenneth actually called me from his barber's chair. He was actually telling his barber that his landlord was pushing him out. And as fate would have it, his barber said, hey, you got to call John. He sold me a house, got me into this down payment assistance program. Next thing you know, he's calling me from the barber chair. I'm finding out his story. He's on a fixed income, Social Security. And so he was limited from an income standpoint, but he was almost being bullied into buying a house that wasn't in the best of shape. Okay. And don't get me wrong. Sometimes we compromise, and I get that. But the agent that he was working with, I don't know that he was doing him any favors. So we were able to get Kenneth approved right away because, like I said, he had very good credit. So we went out, took a look at the house that he was being kind of forced into, for lack of better words. And there were a lot of things wrong with it. Okay. And I was like, Kenneth's a nice house, but we can do better. Okay. It was in an area that statistically, it can be a little bit more challenging. So if any of you are in the Detroit area, it was at Finkel and Lasser. It was actually on the same street as I grew up on Lamphere at Finkel and Lasser. So it gets a little tough. It's a Brightmoor area. But we ended up finding a house over closer to Evergreen and 7 Mile on Vaughn Street. And this is the house right here. You can see the exterior was all redone, new roof, kitchen was redone. So very, very happy for Kenneth. He was able to buy this house with only $950. That's how close we were able to pencil this. We were able to get the seller to pay a couple of $1,000s towards his closing costs. And we actually had the state of Michigan $10,000 down payment assistance program. So I think all $12,000 all in, he was in, but it only cost him $950 out of pocket. And if memory serves, I think his payment was a little over, I think it was like $728 this month because the taxes were fairly low on this house. So very, very happy for Kenneth and his new addition, Maestro there. That's the dog. Kenneth's process was a little bit more challenging because he was actually pushed out and couch surfing with some family and friends for a month while we got him approved. But the most important thing is that we did get him approved, and we actually got him in a relatively short period of time, all things considered. And I touch base with him all the time because he didn't have much. So I put out on Facebook that Kenneth didn't have, many house possessions and things like that. And it was just so heartwarming to see how many people rallied to donate things, and we were able to get his house furnished relatively easily. So very, very happy for him. So don't let anybody tell you that you cannot buy a house on a fixed income. Okay. That is, it may not be, it may not be a, $300,000 house, but there is a budget, and 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be a lot better than renting. Right now, in my opinion, the rental market is in such rough shape in southeastern Michigan. What you get for your money is very, very disheartening. So here's another story. This is Shannon. Shannon actually purchased a home on Wyoming. She was referred to me by 2 of her teammates that I sold houses to that work at the Kroger at 8 Mile in Wyoming. So shout out to that Kroger. If anybody's watching, and referred to them, I always think April was, I think, the first person I financed from the Kroger. So always appreciate the fact that everybody sends referrals. Very few things mean as much to me as that. Actually, the person that referred Shannon was April. April bought a house using the $25,000 down payment assistance program last go around. Now, Shannon, unfortunately, when she was purchasing, they were out of money. So we had to use a zero down grant program that's available through Flagstar Bank. Again, another shout out to Ben. So Shannon qualified for their destination home program, and that allows you to buy with no money down with credit scores as low as 600. And what's nice about that is it's a conventional loan, so there's no mortgage insurance. So it really makes your payments quite affordable. It has to be more in moderate to low income areas. So she was able to find a house on Wyoming, just a couple of blocks from where she works, because she just doesn't like to drive. I'm finding that that's a growing part of the population, where I get probably every other month, I get a buyer that just doesn't have a car, doesn't want to drive. And I get it in this crazy world. If you don't have to, why do it? So we found something. We were blessed to find something within a couple of blocks of the Kroger, and Shannon bought it with no money down. It just required to have a couple $1,000s due at closing. We were able to get the seller to pick up several thousand of the closing costs too, to get her in very affordably. Not quite sure. I think her payment came in around the $850 mark. Not quite sure on that one. Next one is Emily Cook. Okay. Emily Cook she's kind of a hero of mine. And if I always have some people that Emily sends my way. So shout out to Emily. I'm going to see every now and then she comes to these webinars. I don't see her on tonight, but Emily taught me just as much as I taught her. Okay. She was a lady who was in an awkward rental situation where her landlord was trying to force her to buy the house that she was renting. And we were able to get her into a home on Freeland. For that one, we tapped into the $25,000 Detroit grant program last go around. And we were able to add a 3% gift program through Flagstar, a $5,000 closing cost credit, and an appraisal credit on top of it. So we ran the table. We got Emily all the money on that. Like Ben just said, though, it's going to be a little bit harder to do that this go around. Okay. I think they probably caught on that anytime I see money on the table for people I work with, I try to grab all the money. Okay. If it's out there, we might as well try and pick it up. So now there are plenty of programs out there outside of the city of Detroit. So if you're looking in other areas, by all means, hit me up. I'll be happy to run all the scenarios for you. So you make sure that we tap into all the money, no matter where you're looking to purchase. So Emily was another person on a fixed income on Social Security. Okay. And in addition to that, Emily was getting assistance from Section 8. So what was really cool with Emily is we were able to structure her under a program where her Section 8 voucher is actually making her mortgage payment right now. Mind blowing. If you know of any people that are with this, she was with the City of Detroit Housing Commission. If you're with, there are about 20% of all the housing commissions out there actually have purchase programs where you can use your voucher to buy a house. It's a little bit tricky to structure those deals. I've done quite a few of them. So not rocket science by any means. I just need to know what housing commission you're with so I can try and structure that deal, number one. And number two, make sure that they are a participating housing commission. So schedule a call with me so I can make sure you fit in. Let me give you, by the way, before we get too far into this, let me put this into the chat box. Here is my calendar to book a free call, okay? OwnTheRoof.com, book free call. Click this link and schedule a call with me. I always tell people, I want to learn your situation and put myself in your shoes and then tell you what programs are going to be the best, okay? So Emily, great programs that she qualified for. Next one, Tatiana purchased this home with the $25,000 down payment assistance program. And let's see, last but not least, here is Brian. Okay, Brian purchased a home in Inkster. It was about $150,000. We used the $10,000 down payment assistance program through the state of Michigan. So on that program, we were able to cover 100% of his down payment, and whatever was left over, we helped pay his closing costs. So very happy for Brian. And I think his payment came in at about $1,200 a month. So most of the time, you're going to find that these payments are probably going to come in well below what you're paying in rent. Okay. So first thing we want to do when we are out there looking for houses is we want to find out what programs you are going to work for you and what programs we can start stacking if at all possible. Now, here is one more story that I want to share with you. And I promise you this is the last one, but this is the most amount of money I was able to get anybody in Southeastern Michigan. Deborah purchased this home on Cherry Lawn, actually in the University District. Okay. She was blessed with probably one of the most kind-hearted landlords I have ever encountered. So usually I don't have very kind words to say with a lot of the landlords in the Detroit area, especially sometimes there's an overabundance of slumlords, for lack of better words. But this person, not at all. His name is LaDon. And if you look at the picture here, you'll see LaDon is in the circle on the right-hand side. LaDon owns quite a few properties in Detroit, and he actually promised to sell the house to Deborah O'Neill 5 years ago for $125,000. So Deborah went to one of my webinars and learned about the different programs, reached out to me, and she told me, oh, well, my landlord said he would sell me the house for $125,000 and told me where it was. And I'm like, this is the University District. Homes there sell for, closer to 200,000. She's like, I know, but LaDon promised me, and unfortunately, I hate to sound cynical, but not too many landlords man up if they promise somebody something, especially when there's a lot of money on the table. And not LaDon. LaDon agreed to sell it to her $125,000 5 years ago. He said, yeah, I'll still sell it to her for the same amount today. That's what I promised her. So 100% a man of integrity, a man of his word, and was so blessed to be part of this transaction. We were able to get her to tap into a $75,000 program through the Tobias Harris program. So we actually structured the transaction by bumping the sale price. So she got the 75, then put a gift of equity on top of it. So she ended up basically coming out of it with a mortgage of like $70,000 the way we structured it. So she was able to purchase this home with only $1,500 out of pocket. And her payment was only like $600 a month. So it was about $400 less a month than what she was paying in rent. Now, I realize this is kind of like threading a needle, and not everybody's going to be blessed with a landlord like LaDon. But I share this with you because this world has a way of beating us down. And every now and then there's angels that shine. And I consider LaDon one of those angels, because totally a man of his word, very patient. It took us a long time to get this one across the finish line, but it is 100% a great success story. So anyway, so don't let people tell you that this stuff can't be done. I do it all the time, every day, all the time. It's just a function of aligning yourselves with the right people to get you across the finish line. So I'm seeing a lot of great questions come in here. So please keep putting them in there. I promise you, we will circle back and I will answer all of your questions before we break this evening. Okay. Now, all of these people I'm talking about, they were once just like you, renting, and then we were able to get them where they want to be. And that's just to own the home. Okay. So most people just want to have some control over their situation, that and possibly build some equity at the same time. So I want to spend a few minutes right now going over the different what's the difference between grants and down payment assistance. And then I'm going to show you how to get to these grants and down payment assistance programs. And then, of course, we're going to answer as many questions as you have, and we'll touch on some of the eligibility requirements. So first thing, what is a down payment assistance? So there are several types of down payment assistance programs. Okay. Well, there's down payment assistance and there's grants. Now, grants are typically free money. We want to always try and hit grants first. Then if we can't hit the grants, we want to go to the down payment assistance. Sometimes we can do both. And that's what we call stacking. Some of the people that you saw had multiple programs like Emily. We stacked the programs. Okay. Now, I don't want you to think that that's impossible. It's not. It's just that the one program that just launched with the city of Detroit, they're going to throttle that back a little bit. We're probably not going to be able to be as aggressive, but just the same, there's still a minimum $25,000 on the table that as long as you own the home for 3 years, you get to keep all the money. It's just a great way to buy a house. So, and it's even available for people with below average credit. Last go around, that's why I asked Ben, no credit score requirements. Now, Flagstar, your credit scores have to be above a 580. And I really love working with Flagstar because it seems like as far as all the lenders I work with, Flagstar tends to get preferential treatment with some of these programs because they are heavily vested in the underserved communities to get these things across the finish line. In other words, they have more first-time home buyer programs in underserved communities than any other lender by far. So with that being the case, they know the people at the different housing commissions or organizations or things like that. So where they can pick up the phone, call, and have candid conversations to get your deal across the finish line. Now, if a lender doesn't do a certain number of deals, they're not going to know who they are. Not that they can't get it done, but it might take a little bit longer. Okay. So I always like to go with the path of least resistance, but keep in mind, if the credit scores are below a 580, we're going to have to pivot and go to other lenders. Now, the City of Detroit program, the 25,000, I had a handful of people that got deals done all the way down to 540 credit scores last go around. Okay. So keep in mind, even if your credit's in a poor situation, that City of Detroit program could be a lifeline for you. Okay. And there's a specific way that I do to structure those deals to get you across that finish line. Please, if you find yourself in that type of situation, schedule a call with me. Okay. That's one that we need to get on top of it sooner than later. And I'm going to put my calendar in the comments again. So please schedule a call with me as soon as possible, because what's going to happen is There was just an article in the Detroit News on the Detroit Down Payment Assistance Program. The floodgates are going to open, and it's going to be a race. Now, I think Ben had mentioned, maybe not tonight, but earlier today, that there were going to be 380 families, I think he said, that were going to qualify for this program. And that sounds like a lot, but Detroit's a big city, okay? And people, they will fly through that money. So it's important that we try to get to the front of the list as quickly as possible. So we still don't know how the registrations are going to go. So please schedule a call with me so I can get your information and get you registered. What if it's anything like last time? The process is we get you registered and then we get you pre-approved. Once you're pre-approved and find a house, they send the pre-approval and your purchase agreement in, that locks down the money. Okay, then they're guaranteed to get it. So, but we can get your reservation, or excuse me, we can get your information in so they know that your purchase agreement and your pre-approval is coming. Because what they will, if they do it anything like they did last time, they had such a big rush that they shut off the application process. So it looked like there was no money, but all they did was they closed it because they were getting overrun. And then they reopened it up for select people. Maybe not select people's a poor choice of words. They opened it up for lenders that still had people that wanted to get in. Okay, so it's important you get online as soon as possible. Now, as far as the down payment assistance programs, like I said, grants, free money, down payment assistance, there's 3 types. Number 1 is basically they give you money, they put a lien on the house. You, after a certain period of time, the lien is extinguished and you get to keep the money. The other one is you may not make any payments and the lien is out there forever, which you get free use of someone else's money, basically what it is. And then when you sell the house, they want the loan repaid. That's the second way. And then the third way is they could have payments on it. I don't really do the payment ones all that often because there's always either free use of the money or one that you get to keep after a certain period of time. Either 3-5 years of home ownership, you get to keep all the money. Okay, so grants first, down payment assistance second. Next thing we want to touch on, eligibility and requirements. Well, with the Detroit program, I told you it can go as low as $540. There are other programs that will go down to $580, some are $600, and then some are $640. I will tell you, the higher your credit score is, the more programs we can stack. Remember Emily, I showed you a few moments ago? Emily, I think her credit scores were in right about 700, and we were able to stack 4 programs with her. Okay. So it depends on where your credit score is. Now, with regards to income, they will verify your income. If you receive W-2 wages where they take the taxes out of your pay stubs, you're good. They just need to show you've worked somewhere for a couple of years. Doesn't have to be the same place. We just have to show that you've continuously had employment for a couple of years. Sometimes people get laid off for a few months. So it might be a couple of years and 2 months if there's a gap. So not that big of a deal. If you're self-employed, they want to see 2 years tax returns. If you get 1099 income, they want to see tax returns because technically you're self-employed. Ideally, they don't want to see more than 45% of your income go to your house payment and your overall debts. So for example, let's say you've got an income of $4,000 a month. 45% would be $1,800 a month. If I take $1,800 and start subtracting not all your debts, just the ones that are going to show up on your credit report and what might be coming out of your bank statement. So let's just say you got $1,800 a month, maybe $400 for a car takes you down to 14, and then maybe another $100 a month for credit cards, student loans, whatever. That takes you down to $1,300 a month. $1,300 a month is buying about $150,000 a house with minimal down payment assistance programs. You take the City of Detroit program, you're buying a $175,000 house. So great ways to structure things here. So lots of ways for us to get people across the finish line that way. So the benefits of the down payment assistance, it's always nice to use someone else's money for free. Okay. And grants, it's always nice to get free money. Okay. The common misconception with a lot of these programs are, one, you don't need 20% down. Some of these programs just require 3% down. So let's say, for example, you use a state program, $10,000. You're buying a $200,000 house. If it only requires 3% down, that's $6,000. That leaves $4,000 for your closing costs. So lots of ways to structure these transactions. So that's why I like to schedule these calls, put myself in your shoes and tell you exactly what I would do. Okay. Sometimes the programs are easily funded, easy to pick up, and it's a race like the Detroit program. Other times, like the state program, that money is always out there. Okay. But I'd like to put myself in your shoes just to make sure we're scooping up all the money we possibly can. Other misconceptions that your income might be too high. There are a couple of programs where it doesn't matter what your income is. Okay. Now, the City of Detroit program has income restrictions. The State of Michigan program has income restrictions. But the State of Michigan program goes up to $100,000. That's pretty generous in my mind. Okay. The City of Detroit program, that goes off the income census tract, the area median income. I'll actually pull that chart up in just a moment for you. Okay. Because I know a lot of people are probably wondering what the income levels are there. All right. The next thing, these are the steps that you would go through from start to finish over the next, say, 30, 60, 90 days in order to purchase a home. The first step, in my mind, we want to find out what programs are available. Okay. And that usually entails knowing what area you want to move to. These programs change almost block to block. Okay. They can change by zip code. They can change by basically census tract, which could be, you could have two homes right next door to each other and they could be different programs. Okay. So we need to have a good idea of where you want to move to. And actually, if you have an address, even better, we can give you a feel for exactly what programs are available. Okay. The second thing we want to do is we want to check your eligibility. We want to check the eligibility criteria for each program to make sure you're going to fit in it. Not all lenders do all of the programs. Okay. So we don't really want to go to the lenders first. Okay. Now, does Flagstar have a great breadth of products for these down payment assistance? Absolutely. I think they're probably one of the most common sense banks out there to get people across the finish line. And if anybody knows how to massage their guidelines and get people done, it's going to be Ben and I. We do a lot of these. The other thing is, I'll be the first to admit, they don't do every program. So sometimes we might want to switch lenders because they may offer programs in other areas that maybe Flagstar doesn't serve as well. Rural areas up north, wherever. It depends on a case by case basis. So what I will tell you is sometimes people go to some of the big boys, some of the big lenders out there. Say Rocket, for example. Okay. I like Rocket. Okay. I think they do a lot for Southeastern Michigan. I actually started at Rock when it was Rock Financial. Gosh, 20 some years ago. So, I really love what they do for Southeastern Michigan, but when it comes to some of these down payment assistance programs, they don't do them. Okay. And nothing against Rocket. They're there to make money. And the reason some lenders don't do these programs are the programs dictate how much the lenders can make. And a lot of the big boys don't like to be dictated to how much they can make. Okay. For example, Chase, Rocket, Bank of America, Bank of America and Chase have some versions, but I find Rocket has some programs out there, but you got to have a little bit more money into it to get across the finish line. And they certainly don't pride themselves in tapping into a lot of these programs that I tend to connect people with. Well, Nikki, I'm catching Nikki's comment. I made the mistake of going with Rocket first. And it's not a mistake. I mean, if you don't know, like I said, they do a lot of good things for people, but I just don't think they shine in this area. So I don't mean to knock them, but it's just not their bread and butter. So after we get that eligibility check and make sure that you're going to get approved. Then we want you to gather your documentation together and connect you with a lender. Typically what we're going to look for past couple of months, bank statements, paycheck stubs, tax returns or W-2s. That's pretty much it. Most of them can get your information online. If you don't have that stuff, a lot of them can actually, if you work for a large employer, a lot of them can get that information directly from your employer too. So I know Flagstar does an incredible job at that. So from there, we're going to connect you with a lender. Once we get that lender approval, well, at the same time I connect you with the lender, I want you to start looking at houses online. Heck, I tell people right away, it's never too soon to start looking at houses online. And the reason I say that is I want you to realize where you're going and how your money spends. That way, when value's put in front of you, you're not going to think twice. You're just going to jump. Okay. And with that being said, I feel like you need to understand the market. Okay. So you're not blindsided with it and you see value. And then obviously we're going to connect you with agents. So myself, my team, I'm just myself, and I have a couple of showing agents that just go around the Detroit area opening doors for people. They're very good at what they do. Okay. What they do, I personally trained each one of them. We are not here to sell headaches. Okay. As you probably noticed with all of the houses that, the examples that I had earlier, we are all about quality houses. Okay. There's always plenty of houses. There's no shortage of people out there putting lipstick on houses right now. And the last thing we want is someone to wake up and give us a call and say, guess what? Okay. We are going to point that stuff out. We don't want you wasting money on inspections unless we feel like the house is going to be in decent shape and be something that's predictable for you. Now, ultimately, it is 100% your decision, but we want you going in with your eyes wide open. Okay. Me, I'm a big fan of 1950s brick construction. So when I go back to my old neighborhood, there's not if it was a frame house, it's not there anymore, but the brick houses are there and they stand the test of time. In my opinion, 1950s houses are the best construction this country's ever seen. So I tend to fall in that side of it. You give me a 50s house with a good roof and a dry basement and a fairly new furnace and water heater, there's probably not, and new windows, that's another thing. You get those things in it, there's probably not a lot that's going to catch you off guard. And the older I get, it's all about being predictable. Okay. I've been doing this since 1987 is when I got in the business. So those are just things I've learned along the way, and I always stay true to that. So now, with that being said, I want to give you a glimpse of how we find these programs. Okay. I want to tell you, you can go to my website. It's called owntheroof.com. Okay. And let me see if I've got it. I guess I don't have it here. Well, I'll pull it up. I thought I should have it here. Here's the webinars. Okay. This is the website where you can right now go and see what programs are currently available. We are actually developing an application or redeveloping an application where you can download an app to see all the programs that are out there. But in the meantime, just go right here, owntheroof.com, go to our program search. Okay. Once you go to the program search, you're going to go down to where it says, click here to search programs. Let's see if you're eligible, and you can just put an address in. Now, I always put 168. Oh, there it is. Lamphere, Detroit. That's where I grew up. 48219. All right. Qualifies for 21 programs. I don't think the City of Detroit program's probably updated on this list yet, but you'll get an email that will look like this. There you go. It says, hey, congratulations, John. Looks like you qualify for 21 programs. Okay. Now, saying state of Michigan, 10,000. Another state of Michigan, 10, state of Michigan, 25,000. I don't think that one's got funding right now. Arcasa Energy, 6%. That's a new program. Chinoa's been around a while. National Faith through Essex. Oh, National Home Buyers Fund through Essex. Okay, that one's been around a little while. Federal Home Loan of Indianapolis. This is one that gets overlooked a lot because it says Indianapolis, but it does. Indianapolis is just a regional bank and it covers the Detroit area. So it looks like they might be paused for funding right now, but keep an eye on it. It does give 20% down. Faith in Girls, the FIG program, 20% down payment assistance. The next thing, Appleton Housing Authority, 5,000. I believe this is a grant that can be used to cover closing costs. So remember how we piggyback some of these things. CHN, that's a new one, 10% down. Detroit Scattered Site, that's a new one to me. And then National Faith Home Buyers, City of Detroit. Okay, so this is the one that says it's out of money. This is the one that just got refunded. Okay, through the City of Detroit. Second mortgage up to 50%, and it should say 25,000. They'll probably be correcting this in the next few days. So lots of different ways. You just want to go to my website, owntheroof.com. And actually, there are a ton of free resources here. And let's go here. On the free resources, I've got books. If anybody ever wants a copy of my book, okay, that book is No Down Payment, No Problem. Okay, just shoot me a text. I'll give you my cell phone number. It's 248-252-7283. Okay, I give that number out because I welcome phone calls all the time. It's great if you can schedule one on our website. I'll call you at that time, but you can always text me if I'm available. Of course, I'll call you back right away. The reason is this book is actually for sale on Amazon. You don't have to buy it. I didn't put it on Amazon for anything other to publicize it. I'm not here to make money off it. I'm here to teach people how to tap into these programs. Okay, so no reason to go. If you want to support me, I mean, you can go out to Amazon and buy it. I'm certainly not going to say no to that, but I'll send you a copy of this book. Okay. Free, no charge. Just shoot me a text and with your email address and your name, and I'll shoot it off to you right away. Okay. Jennifer, absolutely. So if you could text me, Jennifer, absolutely get it off to you. Now, every now and then I run into the biggest thing that holds people back from purchasing a home. There's two things in my mind. Number one is money. Okay. I know it sounds odd, but the money is the easiest part for me. Most of the people I work with can get in with just a few $1,000s out of pocket, sometimes even less than $1,000, depending upon the purchase price of the house. The second thing that holds people back is credit. That's why I have this other book, No Credit, No Problem. I actually do webinars once a month teaching people how to fix their credit. Okay. Right now, I get it. It's tough out there. Okay. Every time I go to the grocery store with my wife, we look at each other and we thank God our kids are grown, because what I used to spend for a family of 6 with my wife and I and our 4 kids is the same for my wife and I for groceries right now. It's really hard for people out there. I get that. So people have to make tough choices. And sometimes I've been there. Okay. I had a meltdown 12 years ago that I'm not going to, we're a little long-winded tonight. I'm not going to bore you with those details, but I had to reset. I'm talking foreclosure, bankruptcy, you name it. And it was a lot harder to rebuild my credit 12 years ago than it is today. Right now, there's a lot of tools out there to do it. So I do a free credit building webinar. Here is a link to it. If you need it, There it is. There's the link. You can go to my website and you'll see it on there. I don't know when my next one is. We can see it right now. Credit webinar. There it is, March 21st. So 10 days. I do them on Saturdays, 9 a.m. If you can't make it, just like all my webinars, register for it. And then you'll automatically get a copy of the replay if you can't make it. And all of my webinars are pushed out to YouTube. In fact, we're streaming to YouTube right now. If you go to my YouTube channel, Own the Roof, you'll go under live events. You'll see all my previous webinars. You'll see tonight's out there too. I'm streaming there right now. Okay. So lots of free content on my website. We also have courses. All of these courses are for free. If you want to learn, I'm actually No Down Payment Guide. This is actually my book turned into videos. Okay. It's me talking in. If you can stand listening to me talk to you for whatever, 4 or 5 hours, all the courses, all the information in my book is in video content right there. And I also have, I think it's 3 hours of how to fix your credit, 60 points in 60 days, how to get your credit score up. That's on the credit repair course. And I always have real estate agents that are looking for help. Perfect example. Someone's asking a question. Do you work with realtors that can show us houses once we're approved? Absolutely. My team will get you into anything you want to see. Okay. So they are all over Southeastern Michigan. So once we connect you with the lender to get you pre-approved, we're going to get you out there looking into all the houses. Because in my mind, I want you to see as many houses as you can so you're making an informed decision. Now, with regards to these courses, if you're an agent and you want to learn how I actually structure these deals to get them across the finish line, go into structured deals with little money down. There is kind of an art to it. There is money on the table beyond the typical seller concessions. Okay. And I don't know if Ben's still on, but Ben at Flagstar, we get pretty creative. There are all kinds of lender credits that we can tap into, lender incentives. And I love working with a lot of the mid-level banks that have what we call Community Reinvestment Act or CRA money to push to the streets, especially right now. A lot of those banks are starting to push their CRA money to the streets. You just have to know how to ask for it. That's all. And that's what I do. I mean, I've been hanging around this industry since 1987. I spent over 20 years in the mortgage world at various positions. So I know how to structure these deals from a lender standpoint to get them across the finish line. So anyways, all the tools that are out there on my website. And I don't think we're doing a really good job with our events. I will tell you, I do events twice a week on LinkedIn, typically lunch and learns. So if any LinkedIn people out there, those are 30 minutes, just topics of the day, trying to teach, give back to the community, give back to the realtor world so they can understand how to tap into these programs. You'd be surprised how many of these programs never get used. And I feel like it's because the whole system doesn't do a real good job explaining them, with the exception of, my friend Ben at Flagstar and a few other lenders that I work with. Not a lot of people really sound the drums, making these programs available to people. So I have a passion for it. So I love teaching it and paying it forward that way. So anyways, I'm looking at the clock and it's already 5 to 8. So I'm going to start jumping into some of these questions that people have. So if you have any addresses that you want me to run through the down payment application to tell you what programs are out there, I'll be happy to run those for you. Gosh, great. People looking at west side of Detroit. That's my area. Jennifer Dinwiddie, please reach out to me. Trying to purchase a home you're renting, please. Always happy to let you know what programs are the best fit. 48228, great area, Tamiko. 48210, thank you for sharing that. Annette 204, great. Dearborn Garden City. Oh, here, before I forget. NATIO, National Faith. Okay. National Faith Home Buyers. This is the program This is the organization that actually administers the City of Detroit program. So at least they did last time. I assume that they're going to be doing it this time. But I want to go through and I want to give you some of the income restrictions for, they don't even have the City of Detroit program listed here. But let's just jump in. The income limits should be the same. So for example, for a single family household, one person in a household, your income is maxed out at 56. Two people, 64, three, 72, four people, 80,000, and so on. Okay. Shanika Moore, East English Village. Did you know, any of you that are looking in certain zip codes, the Tobias Harris program still is out there. East English Village, $75,000. Okay. So I will give you those zip codes in just a moment. Macomb County, plenty of things there. Simona, nice place in Detroit, lots of nice places. Stacy, the house you're renting, excellent. Stacy, reach out to me. Structuring deals to buy the house that you're renting. If you've got a landlord that's flexible, there's great ways if we set it up front to get you into that house you're renting. Good. Brian's asking, are these only for first-time home buyers? I hope everybody understands they are not always for first-time home buyers. Got it. Ben's personal phone number, 248-425-4088. Don't hesitate. Great guy, easy to talk to. Ben's one of the few mortgage lenders that work for a bank. You can tell him your story and you can be 100% upfront. He will work with you and tell you what needs to go in the file and sometimes what shouldn't go in the file. iPhone, I'm a first-time home buyer, so dangerous. Okay. Jennifer, another Brightmoor person. Appreciate that. So Brian's asking how I find a realtor to work with. Brian, I hope I'm your guy for that. So please reach out to me, Brian. Love to learn your situation. Start putting some houses on your radar. So my team and I will get you into anything that you want to take a look at. Okay. Miss Rhonda, the blessing is having you tonight. Cynthia Richards. Good. Ms. Rhonda, great. I have Inkster, they participate. Yes, the Inkster Housing Commission, sounds like Jennifer saying they will participate in that program. So glad to hear it. Okay, how can I port over to Inkster because I have Lavon? Okay, so I think you're probably referring to the housing commissions. So you can port your voucher over to other commissions. Unfortunately, once you do that, you got to sit on the sidelines, I think, for 12 months. At least that's how it rolls with the Detroit Housing Commission. Okay. And Stacy, I'm on Section 8. I was told they don't do the program anymore. Don't know what housing commission you're with, but no, there is a big push right now to push people into purchasing using their Section 8 vouchers. So I don't know what housing commission you're working with, but if it's any of the ones that are currently offering it, it's just the opposite. They're trying to get people into home ownership because then they can lock your money in for an extended period of time, where right now it could be pulled at any time. So because once you buy with a voucher, they're basically guaranteeing your house payments for the next 10 years. Okay. So reach out to me. I actually have a list of all the qualifying housing commissions in the country. So it's a database that's available through HUD. So please reach out to me and I'll work that with you. Working with MACA. I'm not sure. Maybe, are you thinking of NACA? NACA? That might be it, Stacy. If you are, Stacy, please schedule a call with me. I don't want to say any disparaging remarks against some of these down payment assistance programs, but a lot of the people that I've worked with haven't had a very pleasurable experience with NACA. A lot of missed appointments, and I'm just, maybe on a national level, I think they do a good job, but I don't know about I've never had anybody actually close with NACA. Let's put it that way. So, but maybe your situation is a little bit different, and maybe we're not talking about the same thing there. Meeting scheduled, Jennifer. Thank you. Glad you did that. Ms. Rhonda, your word is bond. Thank you. Yes, it is. So my word means more than the paycheck. I can tell you that. So I'm just been doing this too long. Not all my Jennifer Daniel, not all my landlord offered me this home, and I haven't been here a year. Great landlord. Oh, so glad to hear that part of it. So it doesn't matter if you haven't been there a year. You might be able to approach them and say, "Hey, I like the house. Would you be interested in selling it?" Shanika, thanks for the hearts. That's great. Awesome. And do you guys sign up? What's up? Okay, great. Marnisha, please schedule a call. Happy to sign you up for the program. Can two eligible incomes be eligible? Absolutely. We can add the two incomes together, but if we do, you both have to be on the application. They look at both of your credit. Okay. So if that's the case, then Ms. Rhonda, reach out to me. Let me learn your situation, put myself in your shoes, and we can kind of clear that up. How do you sign up? Well, M Ford, reach out to me, give me a call. What I want to do is connect you probably with Ben at Flagstar, depending upon where things are, and then he'll get you registered right away. Okay. He'll try to get the approvals done as soon as possible so we can start to reserve the money and get you out looking at houses. What I'm afraid of, if the past 2 times that this program came around was any indication, it is a race. Okay. And the quicker we get out there and the quicker we look, the quicker we're not going to overpay. Because imagine this, you've got almost 400 people that are given $25,000 that don't have to have perfect credit, hit the streets in Detroit. If it all hits at once, imagine what happens. Prices, boom, spike up. So we want to hit the streets as soon as possible before that happens. Okay. That's why I stress the sense of urgency. I don't like to see people overpay. Okay. The older I get, money is hard to come by. So we want to make sure your dollars work the best they can for you, because in my mind, it's all about, getting this money is one thing. We want to get payments that are within your budget too. Okay. So I don't want to see anybody become overwhelmed with a high house payment, especially if it's because we just didn't get to the party fast enough. Okay. So we want to get out there as soon as possible. Brian, hope you can hear me. My microphone is turned up all the way. So hope you were able to maybe turn your mic up. Oh, great. Rhonda, Ms. Rhonda, glad you got that call scheduled. Yes. Good luck at Bible class. Say a prayer for us, would you? And everybody else that's out there looking for a house. Annette, thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words. Oh, got it. Why does my name have, and I don't have my initials? Not quite sure, iPhone. So I think when you sign into the webinar, I think you can change your name there somehow. Brianna, 17 programs. Yeah, there's a lot. Okay. Make a copy. Great. Another question. Yeah, absolutely. Brian, please reach out to us. My team and I will get you into anything you want to see. Nia Jackson, glad you could make it. You'd like a copy of the book? Please send me a text. If you could do it tonight, I'm going to be here for a little while. I'll try to get those copies out this evening to you. And Jennifer's asking a question. Do you come across houses if they're rent to own? Well, Jennifer, I'm not a huge fan of rent to own homes. And I'll tell you why. Rent to own, there are a few. Rent to own is where most of the scams are happening right now. So, because what happens is the rental market is in such bad shape, and anytime you have an unstable market, you're going to have predatory people step in to try to take advantage of people. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, so if you do see a rent to own, I always tell people, please call me. I want to make sure you're actually talking to the owner. Sometimes people end up giving money, Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, just to tie houses up, and they're scams. Okay, number one. Number two, most rent-to-owns, the people never actually buy the house. So what happens is you're basically getting an option. You're renting with an option to buy. Now, when you rent with an option to buy, they ask for a pretty big down payment, and people are going in with the best of intentions thinking, oh, I'm going to own this house someday. Well, what happens is whatever, 2, 3, 5 years down the road, when you go to the owner and say, hey, I want to buy the house now, I want to exercise that option. The owner goes, okay, great. The house just down the street just sold for X. That's what I want. And you go, well, wait a second. When I rented it 3 years ago, it was a lot less. Well, I know, but the prices have gone up. I want X, and I'll apply your money to it. So unless you negotiate that sales price up front, the rent-to-owns don't mean anything. Number one. No, it's number two. Number three, a lot of people do the rent-to-owns because it's a way to work around large security deposits. Okay, and they can force you to do all the repairs because you're walking into it with pride of ownership. I will tell you statistically, less people buy rent-to-owns. I don't know what the exact number is, but it's going to be a lot less than you ever imagined. So for those reasons and the programs that we have at our fingertips, why not buy it and get the deed and title in your name versus doing a rent-to-own? Okay, so I've just heard more people taking advantage of on rent-to-owns. Here's a perfect example. I had a gentleman buy a house from someone in Lapeer, rent-to-own. Okay, been renting there 3 years. Same story. He wanted to go exercise the option. Lady wanted market price, and he was like, "Wait a second. I've been fighting this leaky basement for a few years, and now you want me to pay full price." He walked away from a $20,000 on the down payment assistance or down of a option money. He had $20,000 down on an option and walked away from it. And the reason he walked away, it was going to cost $20,000 just to fix the darn basement. Plus, he knew all the other baggage he was going into. We got him into a down payment assistance program, and he ended up buying the house that him and his wife really wanted, and it was a lot better success story. Okay. Gwen, John, I will talk to you soon. Don't really know if I'm ready to buy a home right now. Still, Gwen, thanks for watching tonight. You may not, but hey, if there's anybody in your network, I hope you got enough value where you can pass this information along. You know what? And I also should have done this. I always forget to ask for reviews. If any of you are out there and could do me a huge favor, please, this is a link to my, wrong one, to my Google review page. And the reason I put this out there, I always forget to ask people for help. I just enjoy trying to help everybody. Sometimes hard for me to ask, but I just put a link in the chat box. If you could click this link and give me a 5-star review, let people know that, hey, this guy is legit. He's out here. I'm doing these webinars every week, trying to educate as many people and help as many people as possible. If you could give me a 5-star review and a few kind words, I would really, really be appreciative. That's all I ask. I mean, other than that, I don't think we're not here to really sell you anything than help. All right, let's see. What other questions do we have out here? Okay. And okay, someone's saying, yes, NACA, 2 years and nothing. Yeah, like I said, NACA, I think they give a fair amount of education, but I've never had anybody actually close anything on NACA. And I've actually had a couple of customers complain that they had scheduled appointments, went there, and the office was closed. So, Onita, thank you so much for the kind words. Really do appreciate it. If you could leave me a Google review, I'd really appreciate it. Robin Underwood, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Ms. Ford, thank you. Annette, you are welcome. Thank you so much for watching. Simone, thanks for the information. Thank you, Simona. I appreciate that. Hope to talk to you soon. Yes, Marnisha, I do have an office. My office is actually here in Novi. I am at 8 Mile and Haggerty Road. So I'm actually here all the time, if you ask my wife. So I am actually inside. I work out of a Keller Williams office in Novi called Keller Williams Advantage. So yeah, if you ever want to schedule a time, come in and meet me in the office. Always happy to have you come in and give a tour. I was actually thinking about doing some workshops here. Hey, there's something I should ask everybody. Would anybody find value in doing a live workshop? We have a beautiful training room that I'd love to do workshops to maybe help people with either their credit or just gets to meet me and we just work through things. So nice, Brianna. Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll make that a goal for next month, is to start maybe offering up workshops for people, maybe on a Saturday where people could come in, we sit down, maybe we bring just spend a couple of hours over, a coffee and a donut or a Danish or two, and just kind of walk people through. So, because I find that especially some people don't really embrace the technology nearly as well. Interesting. All right. Well, we only have a few people, 20 people here, and I'm getting several people saying about workshops. All right. I will make sure that Jennifer, I am in Michigan. I'm actually in Novi, Michigan. So if anybody knows where the Myers Thrifty Acres at 8 Mile and Haggerty or 8 Mile and 275, I actually, quarter mile away from that. So I'm in a fourth story of an office building right down the street. So yes, so love to do a workshop maybe on a Saturday morning and see how that goes. So I will get something on the books for next month on that. Okay. And all right. Any other questions? Still got 18 people on, so I want to make sure I address all your questions this evening. All right. Well, if you could, please do me a favor and leave me a review on Google. I would really, really appreciate it. And then any of you that may need help, my credit webinars are there. All my tools are on my website. They are all free. I will have to change my website so people can download my books for free. So that I'll try to make that revision on the website in the near future. Next time I talk to my web guy. Trying to think of anything else. Oh, once we launch our application, here is the name of it. Zero Down Scout. This should be launching in the next couple of days. So once it launches, I'll probably be doing a webinar probably next week. We did get a response from Apple that they wanted us to make one revision a few days ago and that it would go live fairly quickly. But what I'm looking for is an audience of people to test it out and get some feedback so we can make it better. Okay. So, oh, Naya, looking for zip codes. Let me jump into that right now. Thank you for the reminder. So let me go back to my presentations here. And I have that in my old webinars last month. Let's see. So these are zip codes for the Tobias Harris program. These zip codes are for $75,000 or 40% down. Requires a 620 credit score. Okay. Now, 48235 does not work. 48221 does work. That's the university district. So you can get $75,000. So Bagley Garden Homes University District. And 237, I don't see that on here. So if you are, anyone you know of is looking to make a move to East English Village or Indian Village area, Maple Ridge, Regent Park, Linwood, Dexter, Jameson area, Core City, Woodbridge area, Warrendale, Eastern Market area, McDougall, Grandmont subdivision, nice area. And then the East Side, Denby, Morningside, and East English Village, another nice area, and Bagley Garden Homes and University District. These are the zip codes that are eligible for $75,000. This money is limited. Okay, so reach out to me. Happy to learn your situation and see if these programs can be a fit for you. These ones are a little bit tricky to get into from a standpoint that you need to have at least 3% of your own money into the transaction. Okay. So if you're buying a $200,000 house, you got to have $6,000 to get into it. So think about it this way though. If you have $6,000, they're going to give you 75. You're basically looking at a mortgage of $125,000. That's like $1,000, $1,100 a month, and you're in a $200,000 home. I mean, what's not to like there? The only downside is you do have to pay the money back when you sell the house. They want all the money back, and it is a shared equity product, so they want a part of the equity as well too. But if this is the home that you're going to be in forever, which is what I recommend. So if you are I always tell people, if you're on a fixed income, you're a senior, and I don't know how you are, but I'm 62 right now. I'm not moving again. Okay. They're going to carry me out of my house. If that's the case, I don't care. Get me the lowest payment possible. So, Stacy, you are in 48221. Is that where you're living now, Stacy, or where you want to move to? This is all about where you're moving to. Jennifer, either. That's the goal. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Jennifer. I hate to sound like the cynical old guy, but that's where you live. Okay. Hey, thanks for sharing. So as long as you live anywhere in the city of Detroit, if you're moving to one of these zip codes, that's how it works. Okay. 48235. Okay. Got it. So, okay, great. All right. Well, any other questions before we call it a night here? All right. So let me give you again. Thanks, Stacy. I look forward to your call. I want to put in my webinar because without fail, I always have people that need help on the credit side. Here's a link to my credit repair webinar. Okay. Really what I do is I teach people how to get their scores up 60 points in 60 days. There's certain tricks that you can do. It's about an hour webinar, unlimited questions, so an answer. So I think what I'll probably do is when I do my workshop, I might touch on that a little bit and then just read the room. Sometimes people are comfortable with it, sometimes they're not. So me, no judgment. I mean, I already gave you my story. It was a long road down and a long road up. So if I can help shorten the learning curve for you, that's what I'm all about. So anyways, one thing I didn't ask tonight, I have people that have watched my webinars. I think I've been doing them almost 4 years now. So it's kind of funny. I always tell people, if not for anything else, I think about if people would have bought 4 years ago, how much equity they'd be sitting on. And if there's any message that I can pass along to that next generation, okay, most of the people I work with, oddly enough, are similar in age. They might be 50 to 70. And, that's great. Love it. But I find that the generation that's like 25 to 40 has almost given up on home ownership. Okay. And kind of sad when you think about it. Okay. Now they don't want to hear it from 60-something-year-old guy preaching about down payment assistance programs. I get it, but they may listen to some of the elders in the community. So if you have younger people that you're surrounded with, please tell them there's not too many ways to gain wealth in this world. I will tell you, buying a house today and holding onto it for X period of time naturally builds wealth over time. Okay. And if there's anything I can pass on to my kids, that's the one thing. And using these down payment assistance programs and grants, it's just a great way to do it. In fact, I forgot, there are programs out there where people can buy multi-unit properties doing these down payment assistance programs. So some of these younger generation, they don't want the responsibility of owning a home But when you tell them the investment side, that they can possibly retire at the age of 50 and have, a 4-unit property that can feed them and their families, I mean, then their ears start to perk up a little bit. But again, they don't want to hear it from somebody that's a little bit older. They want to hear it from someone their own age. So if there's anything I could do to try and crack that market and those younger people to listen, because I feel like we're like almost leaving a generation or two behind. So anyways, I'll stop preaching at that, but always like to pay it forward that way. So thank you all very much for watching this evening. I appreciate your time and hope our paths cross again soon. So you're going to get some automated text afterwards. And I apologize. I'm trying to work out the bugs. There's a lot of people that attend, and afterwards it says, hey, sorry you couldn't make it. Trying to work that bug out of my automated system. So hope it doesn't hit people too hard today. I will give you my phone number one last time, 248-252-7283. Please lock me into your contacts. Give me a shout if you ever have any questions, whether it's regarding real estate or mortgages, or I even had interest in a title company for several years. So there's very few situations that haven't hit my radar that I can't walk people through. Okay. And if I don't have the answer, and I'm not pretending to be the guy that knows it all, I don't. I do have a pretty good Rolodex of people that I can call to get the questions answered. Okay. So thank you all so much for watching this evening, and hope our paths cross again soon. Have a good night, everybody. Goodbye. Hey, what were your questions tonight, man? You were Brian. What'd you ask? Thank you, by the way. Oh, okay. I was like, okay, cool. Great questions, actually, because I forget to tell people that, and it becomes a little bit more, oh, hold on. It becomes a little bit more challenging that way. So, okay.